Justin Hume joins us. He's the Director of Integrated Mobility at Samsung South Africa. Justin, firstly, it's so good to see you under lockdown. It looks like you're back at your Samsung headquarters there. I recognize the showroom next to Nickelway, which I've spent many, many times there. And it's a great little showroom that you can browse and check out all the latest Samsung gadgets. Am I correct in my prediction, Justin?
It is. So I'm back in the showroom. We're looking at the new innovations and what's available to share with the market. So it's I think this particularly has been a tough year for everybody. It's been characterized by the lockdowns of life, but certainly from our perspective, we've stuck with innovation. We believe it's more important than ever before as we move from almost the new normal into the next normal. And
yes.
So I'm back here making that happen.
Well, listen, you talk about innovation, and we're going to be talking about the Galaxy Z Fold 2. And this is the second generation of this device. And I want to read some of the headlines from some of the review sites that have been reviewing this. Gizmodo says that it is proof that you should skip the first generation technology. Tom's Guide says a truly amazing foldable phone. The Guardian newspaper says a folding phone tablet that works. The Verge says an extravagant success, and. So people are certainly raving about the Galaxy Z Fold 2. So congratulations to you guys. I remember the first generation. You and I were having a discussion about it. It was a first generation device. It worked pretty well, but boy, oh boy, you guys have shot the lights out with the latest version.
No, we stepped it up, definitely. And can you believe it's a year ago since the Fold came into market? It was the phone that shouldn't have been made. In the sense that, or couldn't be made, in the sense that, can you really bend a mobile phone in half? And I think we've proved that it could. We've then taken it on from the Fold to the Galaxy Z Flip. We've taken that now to the Z Fold 2 in that regard. And Z Fold 2 brings across everything that the customer was asking for from Z Fold 1, that feedback that came through. So it's innovation, it's stepping up, and I think it's a product that those tech enthusiasts will, lead to. Certainly by the pre-orders we've seen globally. It's pretty
absolutely great. If you had to meet someone in the street, how would you describe the Galaxy Z Fold 2 to them?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is show it to them.
Okay, so that's the one side of it, right, Justin?
Now all I do is I am opening it up into a full tablet. Effectively.
Wow.
How's that? So
that's amazing.
If I go back to this, compared to the Fold 1, I now have the full display. Let's go there. The full display on the outside screen. Nothing hiding it there, and an even larger display on the inside. This is the benefit. Now, think about, you might be asking why. So we've been able to take a mobile phone, the portability of a mobile phone. You can see how small and light that is, right?
Okay.
Yes. Something that I can easily put into my pocket. I'm now able to take that, have that portability, and still have the screen surface that I would expect from a tablet. Now, think about it. As business people, actually, I know, sometimes you're out and about. You need to look at the spreadsheets from the business. You need to look at income statements or whatever it might be. You're now able. Historically, you've sort of gone through your phone. You've scrolled, and trying to see what's there. Now, just open it up. I basically have a work surface carried with me at all points. And what was incredible from the first Fold, we found that multitasking just went up to a whole new level. So, you and I, we've spoken about the Galaxy Note. We've spoken about the Galaxy S20, right? Coming through. Those users in the market are deemed typically to be higher multitaskers than other mobile handsets. The Fold user is 4 times more likely, or utilizes multitasking 4 times more than even the Note user. So they now look at things like, how do I have my browser open to catch the news? Let's assume it's Bloomberg or stocks. They have their spreadsheets open, these type of things, and they work in between this. Now, it's not only that business person who's in the formal corporate business world, but it's the entrepreneur who needs to have their business on the go. It's the media influencer who needs to be both the business person and the creative producer on the other hand. This is where Galaxy Z Fold is coming into its own.
But it's amazing. Just you look at the middle of that phone. There isn't even like a divisor. It's just like one screen.
Exactly. So we've gone with ultra thin glass on here. Now, the name might be somewhat deceiving, but first of all, it allows this huge degree of flexibility. And I'm going to come back to flexibility in a moment. But secondly, it's actually incredibly tough and strong. It's to the point that you might think ultra thin glass is this fragile. No, this device is tested to open and close over 200,000 times. Now,
Wow.
what that means for the average user, on an average daily use, this phone can open and close for 10 straight years without any issues. Okay. That's how potent it is. And the outside is fitted with the latest Gorilla Glass Victus, which is also, as we know, the toughest glass available. So I think from a rugged perspective, or a handling the knocks and drops of life,
Yes.
we've got you covered in that regard.
Plus, if I'm not mistaken, it's got 5G as well.
5G enabled, which is a critical one. So even though this is a relatively new technology in SA, all the major operators are deploying these towers now. They're deploying the service. 2021 is going to be revolutionary. In the same way that 4G and 3G bought us the Facebooks, the YouTubes of the world, 5G is ushering in a whole new era of services to the market. And so you want to be future ready with your product.
So Justin, I mean, just touching on it, I mean, you were just talking about the consumption now. It's amazing how a phone can change the way you use it. You talked about the tasks that you can use and how the functionality has just gone through the roof with people using the phone. But it's massive on consumption. And I remember the first generation when you had when you opened up YouTube, for example, and you were viewing it, you could divide it up and you could do all sorts of things on the screen. But the consumption of video, which is what we're doing so much on our devices, that must be a big focus of this device, that it can open up like this. You just got one basic big screen.
Exactly. So I'm going to try and show it again here. What I'm going to do is on the handset, right? I'm going to go up. Let's go into YouTube as you suggested.
Right.
Okay, here's a movie trailer that is, let's get something that's family rated here, just in case. All right, so here we have The Croods playing, and now I've got it in a full screen mode. Hopefully you can see that.
Yes,
Playing
I can see. So
screen.
that's on the front part of the screen, right?
That's the front part of the screen. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and do it here while holding it to camera. I'm going to open up the device, and immediately you've got it in full view on the outside.
That's amazing. Okay, I see exactly where you're coming from. And you can't see even it happens seamlessly, right?
Seamlessly. So this is what we call app continuity. So what you're seeing on the outside display is referenced immediately to the internal display. One other thing it's going to show you, which is unique about this particular product, is compared to Fold 1, I either had the phone closed or I had the phone open, right?
Yes.
Now, the adaptive flex hinge. And as you can see, I can have the hinge at basically any angle. Now, think about it if I'm watching a movie on an airplane. I can now place the device on the table and continue to watch on the screen that I have at the top here in flex mode. Or
that is so cool.
Stand the device like an A-frame basis and watch it on the external screen. So this is just some of the flexibility that the hinge scenario brings into play. Again, the use cases behind this is it's limited in many ways.
Justin, I'm just amazed at the functionality of this device. I mean, if we can just go back, I know that Samsung, and you and I have had this discussion, you've been to the place where they do all the innovation in Korea. You guys spend millions and millions of dollars on developing new technologies and innovations, because I mean, this is innovation at its best, right? And you took what you learned from what your users told you from that first generation device, you put it into this one. I mean, to think about a hinge that can open and close, I think you mentioned 200,000 times. I mean, that in itself is extraordinary. Tell us about the feedback that you took in and the innovations that you brought in, because you've obviously added a lot more newer stuff onto this one, Justin.
Yes. So firstly, let's maybe start with the screen technology. So it's 120 hertz screen refresh rate. Now, what does that mean? That at a refresh rate, so the number of times the image is being refreshed on the screen, is now on par with your top end televisions. Why? Because we're watching more media, we're watching more consumption. Okay, so it's imperative that what we're seeing is best in class. Now, I just want to take one step back, Aki, which you're referring to, under this new dynamics that we have and everything like that. We note that in April and May, global stats show us that the demand for online streaming applications, okay, increased to 508%.
Wow.
Education applications went up over 150%. Okay. Not to talk on their behalf, but Netflix as one beat the Q1 analyst forecast for number of subscribers twofold. Okay, so I mean, this just shows the switch that has taken. So lockdown globally and what have you has shifted us into this digital age, and it's accelerated the pace of it. So the product that we have has to match the aspirations that we have and the environments that we have. So that's the first thing that we do. The second thing that our customer was saying to us is that, as I showed, they wanted the exterior screen to replicate that of a full mobile device because they want to have that flexibility of utilizing it in the closed mode. So we bought it into full plane. Probably more important than that, and this is what you would see almost, let's say, behind the scene with the Galaxy Z Fold 2, is about ecosystem. Now, consumers want to know that this device is going to work seamlessly with their laptops, their tablets, their smartwatches. Okay, so watches from a health and fitness, from a tracking and communication perspective, is probably the fastest growing category in mobile technology today. But it has to work in a cohesive manner. So, because of our partnership with Microsoft and the like, obviously with Google and Android specifically, it means that what I start on my Z Fold 2, I can continue with on my tablet or on my PC in a seamless manner. And that's become critical in that regard. So with Galaxy Note 20, you'd recall we introduced it with our Galaxy Buds Live, the little in-ears and what have you. In the past, I mean, I'm just to talk about innovation. In the past, if I wanted to pair that or Bluetooth and that, I had to go through certain steps and processes. Today, all I do is I take my Buds Live and I put them next to my PC. Because of our Microsoft integration, my PC immediately recognizes that they're in the proximity, first time I'm talking, and says to me, hey, I picked this up. Do you want to connect it? Yes. We don't have to work with this technology anymore. It's simply available to us. And that is probably at the heart of the new innovations that are coming through now. Yes, design is important. Yes, the screens are important and the cameras and everything like that. But connecting through an ecosystem is tops.
And you know what? I've been actually watching over the years. I've been a massive fan of Samsung, as you know, with being at many of your press events from the very first S devices that came out. And you can see, the portfolio now with the latest Note device, the S20 that's out there, and now this device as well. I mean, the innovation that has taken place between the previous generation and this has been quite significant, including the design and all these kind of things. But when you look at a foldable device like this, and I'm thinking, who would actually use something like this? And then I think, well, you don't have to carry a tablet around with you. You've got something that's really functional. Are South African consumers seeing this as a market? Is Samsung saying that this is going to have massive growth in South Africa, for example?
Definitely. I think first we have to acknowledge that the foldable category is here to stay. When first started, it was kind of thought of as maybe gimmicky. Then we just folded, the first fold, and suddenly everybody took notice. And then we had Galaxy Z Flip, which is more of a compact smartphone that unfolds to a larger smartphone aspect. Now Z Fold 2. So we're on effectively a third generation, while many of our competitors are still getting into this space. The point is that it's here to stay because it gives us flexibility and portability. That's part one. But in terms of who utilizes it and where do they utilize it, you would be thinking, because it's obviously it's at the high end of the price range and that type of thing, because of the functionality, the new technology, you would think it is maybe only for the corporate executive. But again, coming back to the earlier conversation, entrepreneurs, influencers, they are finding value in this product because it is this utilitarian tool that covers so many aspects of their lives. And really, we're finding these days with consumers, it's not about the phone replacing the laptop or the tablet, but it's about at the right time, the device, the best device to have is the one that's on me at that point in time, right?
Yeah.
So you as a journalist would know, sometimes you don't have a microphone on you and everything like that, or your camera. So the best device then is the one that you've got with you, your phone, that you've got. So we've got directional mics, we've got multiple cameras and everything like that. And this product just ensures that in those moments where you have that portability need,
Yeah.
you're not lacking for anything.
Now, talking about portability, I mean, right now as we're speaking, I'm very interested to know what device are you using to have this conversation?
Well, because I have to demonstrate my device,
Yes.
I'm using my laptop to connect with you.
But okay.
But in most cases, just to give you a case in point, yesterday I had to do a presentation to one of our network customers through a like a Zoom call, as an example.
Yes.
There's no issue from my handset. We had what historically would have required me in a full boardroom, would have required me with multiple technologies and what have you. I was able to just do from my handset, and they were none the wiser that there was any difference between it being a laptop or versus a mobile device.
The reason I ask for it is because, I mean, if you look at the quality of the front-facing camera of devices today and the new Note range, the S range, and the microphones on devices, they're actually better than most notebooks that are out there. And I guess it kind of leads to my next question, Justin, where you and I have had this conversation, and we can't find out where the future is going with these devices. But I guess you guys are setting a new trend with the foldable devices. But when you look at smartphones overall, they've become an integral part of our lives. People are using them today to communicate, to work. It's a business tool. It's a communication tool. It's a fun tool. It's consuming video tool. It does everything, right? And they're getting thinner. The cameras are getting better. Where is it actually going? And they're getting more expensive as well because of the technology that goes inside them.
I think, so one, let me address the pricing issue. Yes, new technology does drive up some of the price, but what we're finding is that price erosion comes through very quickly. If I talk about Samsung's range, if I look at our mid-tier range, as we call it, the A series, sure, the consumer is winning. They are getting flagship features, last year's flagship features in a mid-tier product. So that's exciting, and that is where growth is coming from. Because, we think about it, and you and I talk about this technology and everything like that, but there's still arguably 50% of South Africa's population that is still using the 2G network. So in other words, still utilizing SMS technology and that type of thing. We're rapidly migrating these individuals to part of the digital economy on 3G and 4G, preferably. I mean, that's great. Now we're going to talk about 5G and how we bring that in nationally with government and everything like that to make sure that this technology is available. So I think maybe that's a good place to talk about, is that the phones are 5G enabled these days. That opens up, it's got massive connectivity. So the idea of buffering and all these things start to fall away. Latency, so the time it takes to travel between the servers, the information, almost a thing of the past, effectively. And now that means we can do real-time education. That means we can do autonomous driving. I mean, this is obviously things of, there's both the futuristic side, but also the very practical side of bringing broad-based technologies to a large number of individuals. Having said that, in terms of the actual handset technology, we're looking for better quality screens. So now, and better quality recording. So to your point earlier on, I mean, this device records in 8K video. Okay.
Wow.
I mean, that's better than your studio grade cameras. Okay. I mean, that's the domain playing back on TV sets that are costing you 60, 70,000 Rand. Okay. This is from your mobile device. Okay. Apart from the source video, and then obviously linking in with the likes of cloud storage and shareability. If you were here today, as opposed to me having to, if we were face to face and you had another Samsung, the Note 20 or Fold, it's contextually aware of the fact that you're in the environment through Wi-Fi aware. So instead of me having to send a picture that we took of us together, on WhatsApp or the like, it recognizes that Aki's in the same vicinity and it just wants to know, do I want to send this? All I do is I tap on the image and off it goes. And a lot of this has been driven by artificial intelligence in the background. So something, our AI engine is called Bixby, but Bixby is helping me, without even knowing it, take a better photograph. Bixby is helping me select the right images. Bixby is helping me set routines so that when I walk into the office here, my phone goes into a certain mode. It's a quiet mode so that I'm not, disrupting the office. Certain notifications are delayed and that type of thing. The moment I leave my office and I head home, it's into a different mode. So these are things that are all just happening in the background, and it's becoming more and more powerful without us even having to really think about it, because the devices are learning as we go along.
An extraordinary world that we're living in, Justin, and it's just getting better and better and better. I mean, it's unthinkable if, when you look at the 5G connectivity we've got today and the power that's inside this particular device and the picture quality, the camera quality, it's absolutely insane where it's all going. And we thank you very much for your time today, Justin, and appreciate you sharing those insights with this new device. And you certainly have got a winner with the Galaxy Z Fold 2. I mean, the reviews are just saying it's an awesome device. And by the way, what does it cost? It's on various contracts, but if you had to buy it outright, more or less.
So if you were to go buy cash purchase, you're looking at about 46,000 rand. But again, in many cases, our network partners have got a host of tariffs available for that they're putting that on, as well as different installment options. So I think that there's a package to suit everybody.
Yeah, shop around, because at the end of the day, you need good package of this with great data. Let's use the 5G connectivity. It's rolling out across the country. I mean, that's where you get the true value of this particular device. Justin Hume, Director of Integrated Mobility for Samsung South Africa, thank you for joining us on What's Next.
Thanks, Aki. Appreciate it.